I told you this. I had started a business. This is after having success in several other success and some other challenges. So I had because business. Look, everyone likes to look at it. Oh, look at your lifestyle today and all this kind of stuff. That is only part of the story. The process is what a lot of people. Everyone wants to look at the result and the destination, but the process that you go through, the person you become, there's going to be some ups and downs. And I've gone through quite a few, my own share of those. And I was back in South Africa, in Johannesburg. And when I left South Africa in 2000, actually, I didn't want to leave. I'd always, that was one thing I wanted. I wanted to maintain my time in South Africa. And so, because I loved it, all my friends, my relationships were there. It's what I knew, it's what I was comfortable with. Yep. But when I left, I said, this is an opportunity for me to become something. And then when I do, I'm going to come back. And so January 2016, I had launched a business in South Africa. It was starting to get some legs under it. And there was an event that I was going to be the keynote speaker for. There was no other speakers. It was just a business presentation event that I was going to do. And some of my partners that day, I was running from meeting to meeting to meeting, and then I was going to do this one in the evening. And some of them said, do you know what you're getting ready to walk in tonight? Like, they knew what was happening, but I didn't know. All right. And they said, well, they were like, are you ready for tonight? And I thought they were just asking, hey, are you good? Are you energized and everything like that? I didn't realize what was going to happen, because when I got to the venue, first off, we couldn't even park because there were so many cars. People had driven for 7 hours, 10 hours. People had taken flights to get to this event. Wow. I couldn't even get in. And when I had to walk. So we parked like almost a mile from it. I had to walk to get it closer to it. Finally was able to get in. And I'm looking around this place like, what is happening here, man? This thing is getting really crazy. And I walk in, and as I'm walking in, people are pointing at me. And, they're saying Xhosa or in Zulu, some of the local languages. And Nguyelo, that's him. They're talking, that's the guy. They're pointing at me. That's the guy. And I'm looking around like, what is happening? And looking to the auditorium, there's over 1,000 people. 1,000, almost 500 people showed up for my first presentation for that business there. I will tell you something. I started to panic. Like, physically panic, not because I was scared of what I was going to have to deliver, because I saw this happen when I left South Africa in 2000. I had visualized us. We were flying out of Johannesburg. I looked down and I remember saying, one day when I have become something, I'll come back and there will be people that'll show up. And I saw the face of the emotional thing that I felt. And so when I walked into the room and I see this happening, the connection between what I'd seen in my mind and in my spirit suddenly showing up in the real world, in the physical world, blew my mind. I went into the bathroom, I shut all the doors, and I literally had a panic attack because it just connected with me. So, and I went up, finally collected myself, went and did the presentation. But I'm sharing that story to say this because I believe that we don't get in life the things that we want. We get what we picture. And for sometimes we talk about, I want $1 million. I want a six-pack. I want to have this dream relationship or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And what we end up doing is we focus on the lack of that thing. So we don't say, okay, I'm excited about having a new car or whatever the case may be. We look at the car that we have and talk about how bad it is, right? Oh, when I get this one, it's going to be better. But I've learned that being grateful for the things that we do have while also being grateful for what's coming is that power that attracts it to you. And so I've become very intentional about what I look at, about what I pay attention to, because it literally has manifested in my life. I started off with a $100 bill that I always carried in my wallet. Mentor told me that'll help you feel rich when you have no money in your bank account. I did that. And then I said, I want to become a millionaire. So I looked on Amazon and said, where can I get $1 million bill? So I bought a bunch of them. I have them, and at my trainings and events, I'll pass them out to people. There's friends of mine and colleagues around the world that still have this today. And I've helped people become millionaires. But after that point, I started to push myself and said, I need to be thinking bigger. And not because of the money, but because of what we as humans are capable of. We accept so little from ourselves. I wanted to really raise the bar on myself because I knew that I do for everyone else. So I said, $1 billion, that has to be it. So I looked around, where can I get $1 billion from? And so I can see it, because I've never seen $1 billion. Now this isn't $1 billion, obviously, but it represents something. It represents something to me. So when I look at it, I know where I'm going. I can see it. That's why I say the life I live today, I saw it all those years ago. No one else saw it. no one else saw this happening, but I saw it in the midst of the rejection, in the midst of not having any money, the terrible credit cards maxed out, literally having no place to live. I saw this, and I see what's coming next too, and that's something that anybody can do.
Wow, man. Whew, that was you were preaching right now, man. This is.
I'm gonna pass. I'll pass the offering plate around. You can pay me in Bitcoin.
Man,
all right.
Please, Cash App, Zelle.
The whole deal.
Sure. We need to make sure we're plugged into Stripe so people can just go ahead and send the ACH. That is amazing, man. So, I mean, so many different directions that we could go there. But just kind of building on some of the pieces which you just kind of glossed over, like challenges that sometimes building your own business or even just personally that folks are dealing with financially or anything, but the power of seeing past that. And one of the things we touched on just kind of in our pre-call was also because of life and intentionality, right, and paying attention to circumstances and situations and all of that, how you can kind of recognize patterns, right? And I'm articulating this in my own words, but one of the things that you mentioned was like, your schedule is more packed now than ever, right? There's arguably, more chaos, quote unquote, back and forth and balancing all these things, but how you are like still recognizing that this is, arguably the opportunity zone. Right? Where you can lean in more because you've almost seen it. And so that this is a time where you just have to like push through. Can you talk through that a little bit just for folks that, I know so many people, from a power of words are like, oh, we're still in this global pandemic. We're still, all of these things, but in the midst of chaos, right? Like just where, opportunity is. And so, just some encouragement for folks to lock in more. And to push through. Can you talk through, some of that a little bit?
Yeah, well, my first business, I started it because I was looking to pay for my wedding to Ilean, my wife, and my business partner today. I had lost my income from my job. Her career had fallen apart. None of us come from families with resources, and she's a child of Cuban immigrants to the United States. I kind of shared my story a little bit. My mom was an immigrant to the United States. My father, obviously, from here. But we didn't have resources, but we had resourcefulness. I want to really make that point. You don't need resources if you're resourceful. And for many people, they just look at what they don't have, or I don't have access to this. But if you're resourceful, and this is the talent, we kind of talked about, the different things that I had been involved in or tried and all this kind of stuff. I have a lot of different interests, even to this day, but I don't have many passions. I have couple things that I'm very passionate about, but I have several things that I'm very interested in, right?
Sure.
But we just wanted to fight through to have our wedding. And I remember I was telling you what happened. We built a business from zero to $13,000 a month in 90 days. I mean, it just took off, and we had literally spent everything on the wedding. But what people don't realize is what happened afterwards. That business collapsed. And so for the first couple of months that we were married, we had zero income. In fact, we lost the home that we were living in Tampa. We couldn't pay that at all. So we were homeless for a couple of weeks after getting married. And so when I tell people that, to dream big, a lot of times people look at my lifestyle today and say, oh, well, that's easy for you. Look at what's happened. Look where you are now. That's easy. No, it is a muscle. And it's just like when you work out, you build muscle by tearing down the muscle, it gets rebuilt. And so we were torn down to the studs, literally. Our life came at us so hard that it broke any kind of weakness in us. It strengthened us. And through the process, we didn't understand this at the time, but through the process, we became so much stronger. And I think today, if there's anything that I want people to know about me, is my talent is perseverance. Like that became my talent. Whereas before, if a challenge came my way, or if I had to guard somebody who was on the basketball court who was bigger than me, I was like, oh no, I won't even try to get too close to him. He's got too much strength on me. I'm not gonna step to the challenge. Or if I have to practice for a tour, I'll practice the day before. I was in that very just kind of not lazy, but just really not that on top of my own stuff until life seemed to fall apart, but it was falling together for us.
Yeah.
So the process, everybody wants the promise, but no one wants to participate in the promise. Everyone wants the Lamborghini. Everyone wants to live in, the ocean front. Everyone wants that, but you have to go through some stuff. You have to become more in order to have more.
Yeah.
And through those challenges, that's why that dream is so important, because you need something to hold on to when all the chaos is happening, when the bank account is in the negative, when the creditors are trying to call you, when your phone is this. I've been through all that so many different times.
Yeah.
And to dream in that moment, to dream when it looks like you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's when dreams have their most power. So today, I've just gotten, when challenges come up, and here's the thing, having resources now, a lot of people stop being resourceful when they have resources. They become comfortable with the resources, but if you've gone through the process long enough, you start to recognize patterns of challenges. So when something comes your way that is maybe doesn't fit with how you expect it, maybe it's death in the family or whatever the case may be, a business challenge, a business partner doing this or that and the other and hurting your business or whatever. The automatic thing that I think most of us have inside of us is to just step back and start to say, why is this happening? And to ask the question, why does this keep happening? Because we see the pattern. How come I get here and then suddenly I keep I climb the mountain and suddenly I seem to hit a lid? Why does this keep happening over and over and over? Well, I believe that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and that we speak reality over ourselves. And if we keep asking questions like, why does this keep happening to us? Our brain is going to look for an answer. But that's not the answer we want. I don't really care why it's still happening to me. I want to figure out, how do I get through this to the next level? And so to change my questions and start to say, what can I learn from this challenge that I can take with me? And that's part of the process of dealing with challenges, but it is a discipline that I'm still learning to get better at. But it is something that I had to just do, because I found myself just going down these rabbit trails of, oh, this happened and this happened, this happened. You can ask, she knows about me, and I would just dwell on all the negative and get all the positive that's coming out of it. And so I've trained my mind to look for the opportunities in the madness, in the chaos. So I get excited in chaos. I get excited when things look like they're falling apart, because I know that something massive is going to come on the side, that the seed of greatness has been planted in the midst of that storm that is going to transform myself, my partners, my friends, my contacts, and my relationships. And that's why even right now, with where we are in our business, we want to go to a new level. And I know that new level brings with it new challenges. Yeah. So you can't say I want to get to $100 million and not be willing to deal with $100 million problems. You can't just say I want the result. You have to deal with the process. So when you've got chaos and you've got things starting to seem like they're going out of control, that's where that dream is going to push you through. But recognizing that it's all for your good instead of to cause you to stumble, I think makes a big difference. It has for us.
And wow, man. So and just to consolidate some of that, because that's so rich, but just so shifting, encouraging folks to shift from asking, why is this happening to me, to more of a question of what can I learn from this in order to push through to the next level. Is that fair?
Because we can never achieve something that's bigger than ourselves. So, we have to become better. That was what Tom was basically telling me all those years ago when he said, the reason you're going to fail is because of all your talents. I'm going back to the conversation.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I was holding on to so many things that really, at the end of the day, I wasn't becoming a master of anything. And so that drive was just not directed. It wasn't focused. It's like a light, you have to focus it to create a laser. Light beams can do all kinds of, they can illuminate a room, but they can also cut through steel if you focus them. And so I've had to become focused in order to get through some of this craziness that happens in the ups and downs of life.
Wow, man. Dude. Wow. So I'm actually just still processing that. So light can illuminate the room, which, hey, we all know those people. Shoot, I think we've been those people, right? Walked in, we've been in roles, We've illuminated the room. Everybody is